at this block. Crazy. Beautiful properties.
And he's, they tore a house down and he put the fence up. He's gonna build a brand new house over here.
Wow, okay.
So they're gonna put over 200 homes in this area.
Yep. Is this Great Water?
Great Water's doing the 200, but then there's somebody else coming, putting some on McClellan, and he's building that personally himself.
Oh, wow.
It's an architect across the street.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Hey there, Eddie.
Hey, Kim, what's going on?
Great, great, great.
Wow, look at this place.
Exciting.
Talk to me a little bit about value, right? Valuation of a property such as this.
Properties of this magnitude are going from $310,000 to $397,000.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of people look at this area and think, oh, the east side of Detroit, the east side 48214 has emerged and morphed into the little villages. And this is a great place to do an investment because you have an opportunity to really recoup your dollars and fast. What has happened is these houses were going for $60,000, $70,000. When the rush started happening, people were aware that, okay, there's some changes. They went up to 110 to 120. But people are cashing out at $360,000. Wow. Single family homes in this area that are rehabbed are cashing out at $349,000. Wow. We had a 2-family flat where they finished the attic and made a 3rd unit just around the corner at the end of this block went for $560,000. Wow. So this is a time and a space in this area, 48214, the little villages, East Village, find a property, help your family if they still live in this area, renovate their home and realize that equity. And that's something you can sit in a savings fund that can take care of generations forever. So this is a time to take action, Detroit. Don't sleep on it. It's Detroit season. Hey, this is Kimle Nailer. I am the owner of Nail-Rite Construction Company. We were established August 1st, 1995, so we are a little over 30 years old. In the last 10 years, we have focused in the commercial markets as well as the residential, but we started in residential because we were doing a lot of fix and flipping. And that's how we got our start. Once we went commercial, we had a chance to do iconic projects here in Detroit, such as Little Caesars Arena, doing drywall finishing, as well as the Pistons Training Center. So we are excited to see the growth the company is having in both commercial and residential markets, but we're here to continue to support investors, developers in the residential sector so we can help them reclaim Detroit and make our neighbor and our city great. So today we are here on Navarre Street in Little Villages. There's also a subset called East Villages, actually the community, and Little Villages is a subset. But we had an owner who purchased a property here, was looking to make it a home. They're very excited. And they're here having a chance to be a part of an emerging community. It's a very artistic community. They have a lot of bars that are opening, community spaces, and so they're fitting right in, nestled in with the home. They have a lot on each side of them, so there's opportunities for expansion, either to expand on this property or to build, because there's so much building going on. Some 200 houses are anticipated for this region in the next 2 years. So they're in a great market for growth to reclaim their investment and have continued growth. So Nail-Rite Construction was brought on this property in October of last year. They had a previous contractor that was not able to complete the project. There was challenges with the funding and the budget. Something went awry. The house gone wrong. And so we were brought in October. There was a process to transition the bank from one contractor to another contractor. So it took us almost 90 days to become the contractor of record. But we began this project in March of 2026 this year, and we are now complete. It's early August. And so what we have an opportunity to do now is showcase how we can be corrective in helping investors. In case you're on a job that's gone south and you want some support, Nail-Rite is here. It took us, like I say, about 4 months. We had to actually go all the way back to the beginning. When we came here, there was nothing in the property. They had painted walls without making wall repairs, no smoothing or patching. So all these walls you're looking at have been smoothed with level 5, the ceilings. We also had to come in and do some repairs to the wood because they just painted it as is. And so we want to make sure a rehab home means just that. It's supposed to be renovated so it looks like a new home. So the owner comes in, it feels like I just bought a new home. It shouldn't look like I rehabbed it. So we put in new windows. We had to correct that. They were put in without flashing and proper sealing. All the exterior siding had to be removed. They did not do any vapor barrier.
Wow.
And so if you're ever in a situation like this, like I found myself as a new contractor, your first start point is BC'd. Have them come out for all those permits that have been pulled and let them give you the status. And from that, build your budget and project scope. And then you know you're going to address everything that the city needs and also the bank, which is for this lender, the construction loan. So it's great to just know where to start. Once we did, we put the schedule together and we just went to work to get this family in. They were supposed to move in a year ago, June, and they're excited because they'll be moving in the coming weeks.
So we're standing inside a finished property, right? And it looks amazing now, but that's not necessarily how you found it, right? You mentioned earlier that when you were brought on, they replaced the previous GC and you, in a way, overtook their mess, right?
I did.
And so when it comes to, being a developer, being an investor, that is one of those situations you do not want to find yourself in.
You do not.
Right?
You do not.
So I want to find out what actually happens when a contractor has to rescue a construction project in that format, right? You talked a little bit about the transition with the bank, but let's dig a little deeper into that. Help people understand just how challenging it is from a contractor's perspective.
So inheriting a project that's already in process, and there's been some progress made, but it's not been the quality standards that a homeowner deserves. And also there's a lot of violations of the work that was performed. So you have to just scale way back. You can't expect to just take it from here and move forward. You have to do a full deep dive. What is the real status of this property? We had to look at walls. We had to look at ceilings. The plumbing, the rough plumbing had failed inspection 3 times. So
wow.
they had spent thousands of dollars and we didn't even have a toilet in the property. So we had to redo the entire plumbing system. The electrical, I was able to bring that contractor back on. I did a little threatening of, hey, we're going to go to the state, save your permit, save your licensing. So they came on board and finished it out. So we was able to get the plumber and the electrical teams to come back and finish the work under my supervision and bring those to getting permitted and approved. The HVAC, we had to start completely with a new team. There were so many violations that we just had to take it out and start over.
Wow.
So it's always a challenge because you just don't know what you have to do. The finishing parts, painting, walls, flooring, those are easy. But when you talk about those major MEP systems, you have to, scale back and make sure you have a quality product because you can't close up the walls until you do. But unfortunately, they had done some of that, so we had to reopen walls. That's the challenge. So the cost starts escalating. Open the walls for plumbing, open the walls for electrical, and then you have to come back, after the repairs are made and, restore to what you see today.
So when you first walked into the property, were you in the mindset of saying, hey, look, I can fix this? Or were you like, yo, this is in really, really bad shape, right? What were your thoughts about like your first impression? And, more so when it comes to access to contractors, good contractors here in the city of Detroit, there are more than there were, 2, 3, 5 years ago. But it's still a bit of a challenge, right?
Yeah. I did not know the original contracts when I came on board. I knew they were working. I was doing a project not far from here. And I was like, well, I'm finished in 4 months. Why are they still working? And then this whole thing came about. So last year I became the program manager for the Ignite Detroit Contractors. And there were a team of contractors who kind of joined that first round of training. And he introduced himself as, oh, I know who you are. I'm working on your sister's home. And I said, really? Where are you at? And that's when I found out there. So, well, we're in trouble. We don't have any more money to finish the job. I'm like, really now? So I did attempt to work with him because I said, well, since you're making an investment to improve on your business acumen, let's see how we can work together. We put some preliminary contracts together. We were going to come in as a sub under him so we can keep things moving and didn't lose the time. But they were not willing to sign off on their contract agreement. We had a HUD certified consultant who was trying to negotiate and mediate, let this Nail-Rite come on and support you because they're bringing the money, they're bringing the funds, and you can somewhat preserve yourself, but they were not interested. So we gave them we gave them a month. And when it got to October, I said, that's it. I can't wait any longer because we're getting to the winter months now and we got to get started working. We're now 90 days past move-in date, so we have to get going. So we came in, and that's when I started my due diligence in October of last year. And that took a couple of months to get all the inspectors out, to see the status, give us an update. And we took it from there, said we'll just leave. I contacted the banks and say, let's start this transfer. They have a process, because not only were we transferring contractors, but that initial bank had got slapped on the hand and the contract was pulled from them to another bank. So we had to wait for that process to happen, and that didn't get completed until probably February. So there was almost 4 months where we just standing still and waiting, nothing we can do, because I couldn't do anything. I would tell any contractor, when you come in on a project, do absolutely nothing but your due diligence. Don't touch a thing, because you want to make sure when you start that the lender, which is holding that construction loan, knows exactly your scope of work, and there's no gray area. There's nothing that the previous contractor did or did not do that can fall on your contract. So I would say that's the most important thing. Just wait it out. And when you start with your full scope, your project schedule, and adequate communication, because now this lender has been burned. They're concerned if this project is going to get finished. So they stipulated that the owner had to pay all the additional monies necessary to close that gap back to the remaining budget of funds in their contract, which means the owner had to come out of pocket. So every month I kept them abreast to let them know this project was moving forward to protect the owner, because the banks could have easily just pulled this whole deal and foreclosed and said, sorry, this is going to be sold to someone else. But I was had very good communication every month. They knew exactly what was completed. When there was a permit pull, they got copies. When the COA was approved, they got copies. So when we got to the end and some of the team at this firm was antsy, should we take it? She said no. It was our documentation that literally saved the owners from having the risk of missing out on everything. So there was so much documentation that they went to bat for us and was a champion to say, this is done, and then we was able to go ahead and say, we're complete, come out and do your final inspections.
Wow, so help me understand and help the viewers understand, how does one run out of money, right, from a budget perspective as a GC? And it happens more often than people realize.
I would say the main thing is a construction project or any real estate development project is managed by the paperwork. And the paperwork should be looked at weekly. Many contractors, especially the early stage contractors, they feel somewhat intimidated that you want to have a monthly meeting with them. They sometimes translate that as you're indicating they're incompetent. So I had to break it down for them. If you mess up your time schedule, you mess up all the time schedules behind you. So yes, I am checking in, not on your work, but on your productivity. So you have to manage the productivity. So the productivity dictates the rate of pay. It's the third comment, and a half, 50% completion draw. Where all of these draw schedules are, we have itemized production. So when they come and say, well, we need some money, we need production. You're getting paid for productivity. And so when I keep that as the top of mind conversation, it helps accelerate. I've seen teams really ramp up. I see teams get frustrated, but at the end of the day, I tell them your payment is based on your productivity. Now, the real challenge comes when they do get off schedule. However, my project had a tight deadline. I could not deviate from our deadline because of the situation with the lenders. So I had to pull the team back and let the other team come in and do that siding tear off and put back on and the window flashing, because we had to take advantage of the early spring and get out there as soon as we could. We had a lot of exterior work to do, roof repairs. There was leaks in the roof. We had the siding, we had windows. We had to do both decks. They had a whole deck had to be tore off and reconstructed. Wow. So it was a lot of exterior, and we was already in June, so I had to take advantage of June because I only had June and July. So that other contractor say, go inside, do whatever you can do on the inside, because they have both projects, some inside and outside. It made for some contention, but you have to just manage from paperwork. This is the schedule. This is what we signed off on. This is where we are. This is where we have to catch up. You've eaten up my lead time, so it's just crunch time now. So you have to bring out the whip. I'm just being honest. So if you don't, your project lingers. And holding cost can destroy a project. If you're holding it longer than you intended to before revenue is generated, that is constant cost. And that was on the owners in this situation. But if you're a developer, that's on you. So you want to get as fast as you can to the revenue generating piece. This is the fun part, making it new, pretty, fresh, but it does cost money. At the same time, you're spending money for that transformation. You're spending utility costs, insurance costs, permit costs. And so all that has to come into consideration. So this is the home. I love the color they selected with the white. It's called Pussy Willow Gray. These floors are the natural wood. As you can see, some of them have the good character in it. So you have some of the better area, but this just gives character to the whole age of the house and the restoration process. Again, we're walking into this dining room with this beautiful wood paneling. These are 2-bedroom units, and they have nice sized closets. But each unit has a full bath. You can just walk on through. The flooring was just the biggest part that just really popped everything and just tied everything together.
Absolutely.
But this is the bathroom. On this unit,
Wow.
They kept the tub inside. This is not ceramic tile, but it looks like ceramic tile. It's just plank tiles, 2x6. But when you think about the longevity, and this is the second bathroom, this one had a lot more character in the flooring, but the owner wanted it. And I think it looks beautiful because it just shows the character of the house.
I agree.
And the age. And so we had to put some new planks in because of pets and all. But here's the kitchen. This was just some redesign we did. Put some upper cabinets below, so they could put some bar stools here. Instead of having upper cabinets, they probably put some shelving here.
Yeah,
but there's
I
a
love
lot of countertop. It gives more countertop. These are going to have dishwashers, stove, and refrigerators. Their stove and refrigerator will be delivered this week. And then we've also ordered the handles. But these are just nice cabinet, builder grade, and granite countertops. So you have a really great team that puts these granite countertops together. There's a full basement. Each unit has its own utilities, so they'll be paying their own gas, their own lights. They have their own furnace, hot water tanks. Both are energy efficient. We try and be mindful of the end users of our homes. So this owner elected to go ahead. Now her son is going to actually occupy the upper unit.
Nice. And
this one will be rented. And she was already teaching early to help her son understand how real estate is a wealth builder. And so wealth building happens through real estate. It's literally that, it's building. One property at a time, you're building the quality of wealth that you want. And both of these units are identical. The upstairs has dark cabinets. You may want to be able to take a peek at that later. And a little lighter color in the kitchen because of the dark cabinets. They also opted, instead of for stainless steel sinks, they have like a porcelain brown, black color. It's really nice upstairs. Nice. But that just set it off a little bit different from this one here.
So I got a question for you. The duplex strategy when it comes to real estate investing here in the city of Detroit, I guess talk to us about that from a GC side. And you've been in the industry for a decent amount of time. What are your thoughts about purchasing duplexes here in the city of Detroit, just from a high level?
I think it's a great opportunity. For one reason, we have a lot of families that have such detachment from their generations. So grandmama don't know the grandkids. So sometimes we have a duplex. It can help stabilize families. One family member up, one family below. And so the children stay under the guidance of senior wisdom. I think it's a great tool. Also, it's an investment strategy. Another community, they help buy these homes and they support the owners with finding tenants so they can build their home and build wealth at the same time. I think it's great. You should always still pay your rent even though you're living in a house, because let all that extra money be extra money. You shouldn't try and say, well, I'm just going to live off of someone. No, I think when you set the standards, should you choose to move, you already got your rent rates and you can already show what that property can sustain. But I think it's a great tool to stabilize Detroit. We don't have a huge inventory of upper and lower units. on the east side as much as we did over on the west side and some other parts of the city. But I think it's a great tool for building family connectivity as well as building your home ownership at the same time to wealth building in that same acquisition. If you should move, you got 2 rents to support wherever you go to.
Is it okay for us to check out this deck that you had to rebuild?
Absolutely.
Let's go see what's going on
We can
here,
go right
because
out
that
this
is
door here.
crazy.
It was absolutely crazy. So this was the upper deck that had to completely be pulled off the house. We had to take everything off. First of all, the code is 6x6 posts. They had 4x4 posts. And they did not attach the porch to the house. As you can see, we have it with the joist hangers, and it's attached to the home. They just ran 2 boards across and had 4 posts up against the house instead of attaching it to the home, which meant it was subject to move because there was nothing bracing it.
Wow.
So we had to tear it completely off, put the proper size post here, which means we had to cut these railings back so they could fit between the 4x4, and then put all the floor joists back up and attach it to the home with the joist so that it's now attached to the home, and these are just bracing, you know, keeping it from sagging. The bottom deck was okay. We did make some corrections for the railing because they weren't to code, and there was some wood that had gotten a little bit more damaged than others. So we was able, they're going to paint these eventually, so we was able to just save some cost because of the situation.
Absolutely.
We couldn't do everything new. We tried to save the situation wherever we could, and so this is it. All this siding, as you're seeing on the back, was torn off and had to be put back in place. Yes.
So they actually installed the siding.
They
you
put
tore
the
it off.
siding up without a vapor barrier, and it's against code.
Wow.
So the city, they go peek and see.
Yeah.
And all of it had to come off.
Wow.
Fortunately, we was able to use most of it. We had to go buy 2 more boxes.
Okay.
Just to finish it out, because some things we just couldn't save where they might have cut around outlets and switches. But most of it was just repurposed and put back on the property. So we're very excited about that. That was a major cost saving.
Talk to me about the cost of this multi-level deck, right? I know the numbers can change from property to property, project to project, depending on the year, right? How much lumber may be. But I think people need to understand, like, this deck is not something that you can spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on. And
you're looking at this deck, $15,000 for this deck.
Yep.
So that's where we came in at. The lumber, we all know there's an increase of lumber since COVID, and it's still going up. And now we have more forest fires, so we don't know what lumber is going to cost in 2027. But you should plan on no less than $13,000 to $17,000. If you're falling too low beyond that, it better be your brother who's helping you out. Other than that, I tell people I don't cost you money, I save you money, because what somebody did was save money. We had to tear it down, it really cost them more money. So being a general contractor is more than just overseeing. You're overseeing quality, you're overseeing code, and you're overseeing the end result that your client eventually is going to have, because they hired you to make sure they get something that they want to use. And now we have very, very satisfied customers. And they know they have a deck that they can use without it falling off one day. So when I inherited this project, they had already done the siding and these windows were in. They actually took the siding and ran the siding up these little channels here. It was an eyesore. Little panels of siding that was just ridiculous, extra waste of J-channel. We took it off. It's a much more attractive just to have a bay window that's continuous with the trim and the wrap, and that just gives a more finished look. We also had doors that, as you can see how the doors go around this side. On the opposite side, they actually ran that exterior straight up and didn't cut it off at the top. So we took that off and took the siding across. So we was able to just really improve the appearance of the home for your curb appeal. This porch had not been removed, so this was totally on us. So we tore this all the way down and rebuilt it. Had to do the boring in the ground to make sure we were beyond the frost line. And then this is all on us. So we put this whole deck and porch in.
All right, so you gave me a number, 13 to 15 K for the back.
This one is about 17.
Okay.
17 with the lumber and material and labor.
Yep,
Minimum should be 17. Again, if you're doing this much decking and you're not at 17, just really question the outcome. It should be someone you know very well, a family member, but you don't want to risk someone just buying all that lumber, and you can't imagine a dumpster full of lumber. We threw all that lumber away. There's nothing we could do with it.
And here's the crazy part. For people who are watching this saying that's too high, Imagine if this was concrete and, masonry, brickwork, things of that nature. You're probably looking at 30, 35 grand for a porch
Absolutely.
this size.
What people don't realize is the work. They're looking at the wood. To get those augers and dig 4 holes into the ground, that is extensive work. Then you have to stop and get that inspected. You have to get every phase inspected. Then you have to frame it out. So you have that labor cost, downtime. If you want a contractor to take this on, they have to build all that into their cost. So while they're waiting for the inspector to come back and see the framing, and then you can get the approval to deck it, right? So you have that 3-phased approach, and you want quality at the end of your job. It's worth the investment because once you're done, you're done. Going back behind Pookie and Ray them is not an option. So they own this lot. They may build on this lot. Initially thought about extending. I said I don't think that would be necessary. I would build something new, especially since they need to recoup some money.
Absolutely.
I would just build on one of the sides, and if you since it's already fenced in, I would just build on that side and sell that and recoup that money that they can get, because they know they can get their $100,000 back.
Nice.
Then they lease where they want it to be. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Are you, as a GC, capable of building a house for them?
Yes, I'm about to build 5 townhomes not far from here at Van Dyke and Forest.
Let's go.
And but I'm bringing sustainability. I'm bringing styrofoam blocks.
Wow.
Wood is costly,
Yeah.
and it's also bad on our environment. Secondly, styrofoam is bad on our environment. It's filling our landfills. It's not biodegradable. So now we have a way to repurpose it for our whole housing needs, and we have such a shortage of housing. So now we can make things happen on twofold. So I'm looking to my first job. I got my survey ordered. We're ready. We've had a preliminary meeting with the city of Detroit already to talk about some other land use around that property that I own. So when we're done, it's going to be a community of about 20 townhomes,
Nice.
3 levels, and all with sustainability materials.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those online. The foam housing, I think they've done that in Texas.
Yes. This
and-
company is coming out of New Orleans.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, but they're actually looking to, they were up here actually shopping because they want to build, some manufacturing local. So the cost savings can be extended to us as a region, because we have to wait till they come from the South. Texas up here, we eat that up in cost. And then they also want to include, Canadian markets and up to New York, westward to Chicago, Minnesota. And this is really to show that this is good for the energy efficient in northern climates. It's priceless, the energy efficient the homeowner gets.
Absolutely.
So shall we head upstairs?
Wow, look at this view.
Absolutely. This is what the Little Villages has created. They have so many community spaces. He can walk right across this parking lot and enjoy this white building here. They have all the businesses that are there.
Oh, okay, so that's
used to be the Bluebird Bakery.
Wow.
And it's completely been transformed. If you just walk down straight another block to St. Paul, you have the Shepherd.
Oh, so the
where they
Shepherd
turned the
is
church-
actually a
yeah,
block
the red,
away?
The red building.
Wow.
That's the top of the
Okay.
church. So the Shepherd is there where they turned the church into a gallery. So
Yeah.
this community is really thriving and redefining itself. I grew up just 2 blocks over.
Did you?
On Holcomb Street
Okay.
in Kercheval. So this is my stomping ground. So to see this transformation and homes of neighbors being refurbished. So the existing homes are being built out, new construction in the infill houses. It's just really amazing to see this real focus on artistry. You can see the beautiful artistry over there.
Absolutely.
There's a metal artwork and structures. Even across the street, I see something. So it's a strong artist community that's coming and emerging in this area. That's their footprint.
So let's talk a little bit more about Kim, right? You're a Detroit native, right? You grew up a few blocks
Born and
away.
raised.
Talk to us a little bit about how you got into construction, right? Was that something you did as a kid?
Absolutely not. So I started in construction as a result of investing in real estate. I lived in Chicago for about 4 years. And while there, I worked for an attorney, and the sole practice was real estate investors. And as the clerk, I would take a folder with a property address, and 3 to 4 months later, that property address come back across my desk, and it just sold for almost an extra $100,000. I'm like, what are they doing? They're working magic. And he said, come in my office, and he started telling me about real estate investing. And I, being the main sole clerk in the office, I was preparing title work, table of airships, getting everything ready for closing, getting the buyer and the sellers, everyone ready for the documentation. And from that, I came back to Detroit and I was laid off. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Got another job. 5 months later, I was laid off again. And it ding, 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 real estate. So the city was hosting an auction. I literally went to the auction and bought 4 properties that day.
Wow.
Now that's where you can go to the auction with just $1,000
Yep.
and just pick and choose what you wanted.
It's different now.
It's different now, much different. As a matter of fact, the city doesn't even manage it. It's all handled by the county.
Yep.
But I bought 4 homes. One of them is not far from here, just 2 blocks over on Holcomb. I bought it on my Discovery card, $4,800. People lived in it. I told them I bought it for your taxes. You're welcome to keep renting it. The owner said, I'm not going to rent this house. I already bought this house. His children, his daughter and granddaughter decided they would rent it. They rented it for 3 more years. And then I put 2 other families in there before I sold it to the final family. I like to sell my properties after a period of time to help make homeowners. And she was a single mom with 3 children, and she is so stable. She talks about it all the time, how having that stabilized housing has really stabilized her family and rearing her children.
Absolutely.
So I have turned over 3 of my properties to single moms, and one was a 2-family flat. One bought they lived up and down. And then I had another mother. She was a school teacher, had been laid off, and she and her daughter ended up buying the home. They rented for about 10 years. So I'm always looking for an exit, and I always like to exit with my residents who've, have invested in my business as a rental partner.
Let me ask you this question. At what point did you go from being the person hiring the contractors to basically saying, you know what, I could do this myself. I could be the contractor?
Well, actually, mine was the reverse. I'm tired of being the contractor. I want to hire some contractor. So my first property, I was the contractor. That's how I learned what it should look like. I was doing it. I was painting. I was doing wall repairs. My dad showed me how to do the plumbing fixtures and showed me how to do the knobs and change locks and changing switches and outlets. So I was the person. And then I met this guy and he was like, my friend does that. He could work for you. And I was like, well, let's try it out. And Ken was a godsend. I'll never forget him. And he came in and he did the houses. I had no problems paying him, so he kept getting paid and I kept working him. And so I transitioned, and then I started going to larger projects, multi-unit, so I would hire 2 teams. I always like to get to the money fast, as I mentioned earlier. So one team needs to be upstairs and one team needs to be downstairs. So that whole project is being done in 90 days. I don't want one team to finish upstairs and I'll be going upstairs to finish. I have extra holding costs. So I knock it all out at the same time. And the upper team, you stay in the upper unit because testosterone does get in there and if you want to flex their muscles, we don't do ours that way. You're not working up there. You're not working down here. You stay in your lane, they'll stay in their lane. So it's really managing the contractors. So yeah, so I started hiring with my investment properties, and then when I started working for other clients, I saw the major trend that was happening with a lot of out-of-town investors coming. That's why in 2017 I went and got my builder's license so I can work for other clients, be able to pull the permits, move my projects forward, and make sure we were meeting all the standards that VC has for us.
Amazing. So as a lady in construction here in Detroit, talk to us a little bit about that experience and the potential challenges that you ran into when it came to possibly showing up and, looking at properties, looking at projects. Did you have individuals, organizations give you a hard time when it came to the opportunities?
I've had inspectors come out and they say, okay, we got a problem here. I need to speak to the general contractor. And I would say, you're standing in front of her. How can I help you? Oh, you're it. So always this element of surprise that as a woman managing the site. I've had that multiple times. But this is a great space for women to come into business because we have an eye. We know what our homes look like and we can recreate that in someone else's home. I think it's a great investment opportunity for women to learn more about. I actually was a part of a group called Real Estate Investor Goddesses. I teamed up with some ladies out in California. We held conferences on the West Coast in Atlanta, inviting women to come learn how to do real estate investing. and all the different ways. We actually wrote a book about it, Conversations with the Team That Build the Dream. So women can see that this is something that's doable. It's not a lone ranger sport. It's something you can actually build a team, somebody who might be good with numbers, somebody who's good with the construction, somebody who's good with the property management, somebody who's good with the tenant placement, the real estate sale. Just find your lane and work together as a team and turn some real estate. This is the best time, especially in Detroit, for women to get engaged and come and build. I'm also part of the National Association of Black Women in Construction. I met them in 2016, which also inspired me to become licensed because I saw a whole room, a conference room full of women, Black women, and a few other sprinkles. I've always been in a room where there was a whole lot of other people, and we were the sprinkles. And so I was ready to take this on and actually help that organization. I'm still a member. We brought a Detroit chapter here. They're out of Florida, Miami, Florida area. We have an active Detroit chapter, and we actually show women how to get into the skilled trades, the construction and the construction-related services, so that you can actually build your business in this space. This is a wealth transfer area. Construction requires the skill to build. So it's like the flip side of the coin. You have to have construction and the real estate. Both elevate wealth, real estate ownership and the construction services. So when you mirror them together, it is amazing what you can do as far as moving your portfolio into a place you want it to be for your family. It's legacy building for sure.
So eventually you're not just rehabbing houses anymore, right? You're working on some of the biggest construction projects happening in Detroit. We're talking, Little Caesars Arena, Detroit Pistons Performance Center. How did Nailright make that jump from residential construction into commercial?
Okay, so I was still working at Ford Motor Company. I was a contract worker there in 2015 through 18. And all the newspaper was talking about District Detroit. A new arena was coming and a whole District Detroit. Well, my family had started talking about the construction, like I say, in the mid-90s, but we had not really actualized the business. And I was like, okay, the casinos have come and gone. The entertainment district had come and gone. They rehabbed the Opera House, the music hall. I said, I'm not missing this boat. So in 2015, I started studying. I did all of the entrepreneurial things, Motor City Match, Build My Idea, Build Institute. I did them all. And then here it was, 2015, I would go through all the open houses and the outreach meetings for all the big projects coming. And I went to the Little Caesars Arena. And I like to tell people this story because I said, I am going to work at that arena. I just started proclaiming it. I kept building my real estate company. I kept building the construction portion for the commercial side, building relationships, going to different sites, going to all the outreach. And one day, literally, I got a call from Turner Brooks. I understand you have a construction company and you focus on drywall. I was like, absolutely, how can I help you? And he says, well, we're ready to move this project forward. We need some contractors in the drywall. I said, well, when are you looking for the contract to start? This was a Thursday afternoon. He said, we need help as soon as Monday. I was like, not a problem, we'll work it out. I hung up the phone and said, oh my God, what did I just do? I have absolutely nobody. I got on the call. They had to be union workers, even though it was a unionized job and we weren't. We did a PLA agreement where you can bring in non-union workers as a firm, but they had to have the payroll managed by a unionized entity, which was Turner Brooks for us. And so we recruited 7 people to have on that job that Monday. And the rest was history. So we helped finish out that project in time for Kid Rock to perform his iconic concert to open up the arena. And that's how we got started with that one. Later, a year later, as a matter of fact, tapped on my shoulder that spring, because that ended in September, that February of 2018, someone tapped on my shoulder and said, hey, they're doing some mentor proteges for the Pistons. And the Brinker team called and I applied and I was awarded, and so I worked with them. And that was a great experience because in addition to working on the job site with my team, I had some in-house mentoring of running your business at that scale. And that was just priceless. The type of software they use, the way they host meetings, to sit on some of those weekly meetings on a project site when all the different trades sit down on Monday morning and talk about it. And that's why I started instituting that on my residential. Some people feel like I'm babysitting them. No, if they're doing it to build the arena, we need to do it to build this house. Every trade team knows what they're doing these next 5 days. There's no gray areas. We all execute because it's a tight deadline and everybody must finish their portion. So that's how I ended up on those two projects. And since then, we worked with the Foreman Mills redevelopment on West Grand River and Greenfield. There was a Montgomery Wards across from the old Mammoth building. They built that out, 50,000 square feet, big box. We were there putting the walls in, doing those high ceilings, built out the fitting rooms, putting up all the mega boards that go around that they hold the materials with. It was just an exciting project because that one solidified why I needed to be in construction, because we were able to hire 28 people. And that was like, okay, I cannot give up this space because I can now be instrumental in families having higher wages. We talk about affordable housing. We need affordable living. How can we raise the wages? Construction, skilled trade industry. So I'm committed, and I will not be going anywhere anytime soon, which is why I'm also working with another program to help develop early stage contractors, because as they grow, they hire.
So talk to us about that. The programs that you've been a part of, you spent a lot of time putting energy into other contractors, right? Other contractors that look and talk like us.
Absolutely.
Give us a little idea as to what your thoughts are about how that's going, right? Are we seeing more activity when it comes to like having better access to licensed contractors that know how to execute, not only from the contractor side, but from a business perspective as well?
Absolutely, and I think we're going to see more of that. So I am the program manager for the Ignite Detroit Contractors. There's 3 organizations working in collaboration, and we're powered by the Gilbert Family Foundation. One of the things that I do as a contractor and the program manager is I have a chance to invite these contractors into the program. So I get a chance to meet them, know where they are, and give them a good idea where we can take them. So we had our first graduating class out of this program in January of this year, and we've since had 3 others. So we have about 40 people who have come through the program.
Nice.
And the goal of this is, it's not a one and done. Every month we continue to have group coaching sessions where they come together, meet each other, collaborate together. The goal is, let's be that institution where we are the pool from which any developer can say, I need some contractors, because there are different rates of pay. You know, just like we have Target and Nordstrom's, we also have different rates of pay in our contractor pool. But you should not risk quality. So I make sure we have solid quality, business acumen, working proposals, working project schedules, and developing as a business while they provide the service. And so we want to make this where organizations like the Reed Center and different other independent developers can say, hey, look, how can we help? With the city of Detroit, partner with us. They have the home repair programs. They have the zero interest loan home repair programs. Those individuals or residents can say, hey, look, let's make Ignite the place where we can go and say we can find a quality contractor. Can we endorse each contractor because we train them? We cannot. But I call myself the contract police. I tell everybody who use someone from Ignite, any challenge you have, call me. I give them my personal cell phone number, and I make sure I will come and solve any situation they may find. But I make sure I send quality people. I just had experience last week where we sent one of the iconic Indian Village Manor downtown. Is an iconic, older, historic condo right there on the river, and it was like, we need our floors done, and can we trust somebody? I said, I got you. He was like, do I need to hire you to come and see this? I said, no, I got you. If there's any problems, call me. He called me back, we are so excited about the floors, you sent the greatest guy. And he just completed the Ignite program this past July. So I know I'm finding quality contractors that I'm helping level up with their business skills. In addition to contractors and helping them with Ignite, the National Association of Black Women in Construction, I helped the organization kind of formalize our operations so we had greater visibilities, so more Black women contractors or in the construction related services could see us as a vehicle to help them grow their businesses. Now we're on big stages. We are a team partner of the Build conferences. As a matter of fact, we are going international this year. We'll be in London this coming November. We have been in Chicago. I'll be there in October. I've spoken to some 15,000 people come to these trade things. And now NABWE, the National Association of Black Women in Construction, is a part of that. So Black women know they can have not only a seat at the table, build the doggone table. How about that?
So talk to us about where we can find Nail-Rite Construction, where we can find Kimle. I would love for people to be able to, after watching this, be able to reach out to you, because I'm pretty sure there are going to be a lot of people who are inspired and motivated by what you've been able to accomplish up to this point. And it's only the beginning for you. So
Absolutely. In 11 short years, this is where we are. So I am Kimle Nailer. You can find us at Nailrite, NAILRITE.com. You can actually send me a message right through the website, and we are here to support you. If you are on a project that is having some of the challenge, like this project we're walking through today, I like to call myself Lady K, the contractor police. Call me, and Lady K will be there to the rescue to support you. Whether you hire my company or not, I will make sure you have the pathway to course correct and make sure that property is occupied. You can also reach out to me by just calling us at 313-816-6060, and we will get back with you to support your needs. We do residential, as you see, and we also do commercial projects. So right now we're looking to build out a small laundromat. They're getting new appliances, so we'll be upfitting that laundromat over in the city of East Point and helping that owner get more appliances in his store as he's expanding and growing his business. So we're here to support you, to serve you, and most importantly, be a vehicle whereby you can help elevate your wealth through real estate investing. One last thing is, not only do I teach this for you to do real estate if you're interested, I have Wealth Building Made Easy through real estate, and next month we're going to be doing part 2, where I'm going to actually be working a 2-unit property. You'll see me talking to contractors. You'll see us building our budget. You'll see me looking at their proposals. You'll see me selecting my contracting partner, so you can know you can do this, because there's so much opportunity in Detroit, and we want you to stake your claim and build wealth for you and your family. Your legacy is riding on you.
amazing. So what I would also like to do is, I'm gonna do a B-roll where I walk in. It's gonna be like a fake intro, like, hey Kim, what's going on? Hey Eddie, come on in.
Okay.
And then I forgot to ask you about the value